Hello everyone and welcome to Kiki Crochet. In this video we're going to learn how to crochet a men's scarf, and this is going to be for a younger age, about 15 to 17 years old. I'm going to be using 100% acrylic yarn and a 5mm crochet hook. Before we start, I want to say that the rule for scarves is that the total length of the scarf has to be equal to the total height of the person we're making it for. And this is the same for kids, for babies, up to adults. This way the scarf wraps around our neck twice. It's long enough for each person to wrap it around twice. This scarf is going to be crocheted lengthwise, so we're going to be making horizontal stripes. On each row I'm going to be changing colors. I'm going to start with the green, making double crochet, and then I'm going to use the orange color to make single crochet. In this way we're gonna give a nice it's gonna come out, we're gonna have a nice design. Even though it's very simple, it's gonna be a nice design on our scarf. So when you start your chain, if you're gonna make this design, when you start your chain, you want the total length of your chain to be the same as the total length of the scarf, because we're gonna crochet horizontally. So I have already started with my chain stitches, and I have made 220 chains with my 5mm crochet hook. Now when you make your chains, you want to crochet not too loose and not too hard. You want always to be using medium strength. So so when you go to the next rows and you make your double crochet, you don't want your work to seem as if you're making increases, because if you make your chains too tight when you go and make one row of double crochet, because the stitches give us some width, it's going to seem as if you're making increases. So we want to always be using medium strength. I have made 220 chains, and out of the total chains, when you start a row with double crochet, you're gonna have 2 less stitches. So out of the 220 stitches, I'm gonna have a total of 218 double crochet. So let's start, and we're gonna count 4 chains from the hook to make our first double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4 chains. Put your hook in the 4th chain and make your first double crochet. So the double crochet that we just did, plus the 3 chains that we used to turn to our first row, give us the first 2 double crochet for this row. So when we start crocheting from the next stitch, we're going to start counting from 3. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And what we're going to do now is we're going to finish this row off camera. You're going to keep making one double crochet in every stitch up until you finish all your chain stitches. And at the end of this row, we're going to have a total of 218 double crochet. So I'm almost done my first row, and we're going to do our last stitch together to see how we're going to change our colors. So we're going to put our hook in the last chain, grab the yarn and pull through the first 2 loops. And instead of finishing the double crochet with my green yarn, I'm going to finish the double crochet, but in the same time I'm going to add the new color. So I'm going to finish my double crochet with my new color. So I'm going to bring the orange and I'm going to grab the yarn and pull through the last 2 loops with my orange yarn. So this is our last double crochet. Chain 1, turn the work. So starting from the first stitch, we're going to make 1 single crochet in each of the next 218 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So keep making 1 single crochet in every stitch up until you finish all of your row. So we're not going to need our green yarn anymore over here, so you can cut that off because we're going to add the color on the other end of our scarf in the next row. So you can cut that green yarn over there. So I'm almost done my second row of single crochet, and we're going to do our last stitch together for 2 reasons. One of the reasons is to point out that it's very important to count our stitches on every row, so we're not going to miss out on the last stitch, because our last stitch is our chain 3 that we used to turn to row 1 in the previous row. So that's our last stitch, and the second reason is to see how we're going to change the color again since we're doing the single crochet in this row. So make sure you always count your stitches. We're going to put our hook on the 3rd chain out of the 3 on this stitch. I'm going to grab the yarn and pull through the stitch. And I'm going to finish my single crochet with my new color. So this way I'm going to add my green color again. So grab your first color that you used and grab the yarn and pull through the 2 loops. So you can cut the orange yarn now because we're going to add it in the other end of our scarf. chain 1, turn your work, and now we're going to do a row of double crochet again. You can make 3 chains and start making your double crochet from the second stitch, but I rather make 1 chain and start my double crochet from the first stitch of every row. So wrap the yarn and put your hook in the first stitch and make a double crochet. So a nice way to save time when you weave in your ends is to crochet your strand of yarn together. So start from the first stitch to make our double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this is how our work looks like so far. This is how your rows will look like up until you finish your scarf. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna finish the whole scarf, the rest of the scarf off camera. We're gonna keep making 1 double crochet in every stitch up until we finish this row. In every row, you're gonna be changing your color the same way we changed colors in row 1 and in row 2. And this scarf is a repeat of rows 1 and 2. So you're gonna keep making rows 1 and 2 up until you finish your scarf. And because it's gonna be wrapped around twice over your neck, you might want to make it around 14 to 15 centimeters long. So keep crocheting, and I'm going to finish the scarf off camera, and when I finish I'm going to turn the video back on again to see how we are going to add the fringes. Okay, so at this point I have finished my scarf. I have made a total of 8 rows with my green yarn and 7 rows with my orange yarn, and it's a total of 14 centimeters wide. What we're gonna do now is we are going to weave in our ends so we can add our fringes later on. If you'd like, because this is a men's scarf, you can leave out the fringes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some fringes, but they're going to be shorter than they usually are. So this is how our scarf looks like. So what I've done here is, in order to finish off your scarf, I have made my last double crochet, I have made a chain 1, and I cut my yarn. So pull your loop and tighten up. So let's weave in our ends, and when I finish securing my yarns too, I'm going to turn my video back on again. So I've secured all my yarns, and what we're going to do now is we're going to see how to add the fringes on our scarf. We're going to be adding on the first stitch of each row, we're going to be adding our fringes, and I'm going to add green fringes on the green rows and orange fringes on my orange rows. So I'm going to use this wooden tool to make my fringes, and I'm going to wrap the yarn around as many times as I can because you won't fit all your fringes in at the same time. So once I wrap my yarns around my wooden tool, I'm going to cut the yarn on both ends. So this way my fringes will come out as short as possible. So I'm going to grab both of my colors. So put the ends of your yarn on the one end of your wooden tool. Okay, so put the ends of your yarn on the one end of the wooden tool and start wrapping your yarn around the tool. As many times as you can fit the yarn on here, because you're not going to fit all your fringes in the same time. So cut the yarn, and let's go to the one end. Hold your yarns together so when you cut them, the yarns won't come apart. Keep holding tightly and go to the other end and cut the other end also. And we have our first set of fringes done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab some green yarn, 2 strands of green yarn, and I'm going to make the fringe from the first stitch of the row. You can use more than 2 strands depending on how thick you want your fringes to be. So we're going to be wrapping the fringes in half, and once we have put our hook in the stitch, we're going to be putting our hook in the center, in the middle of those 2 strands over here. So let's put our hook in the first double crochet on this first row. Put your hook in the middle of those 2 strands of yarn. Pull the yarn through the stitch carefully, and now you've created a loop on your hook. Grab the yarn and pull it through the loop carefully and tighten up your strand, your fringes. So this is how we make our fringes. Let's go to the next row, and I'm going to put my hook in the first single crochet of this row, and I'm going to grab 2 strands of the orange yarn, fold it in half. So put the hook in the middle of those 2 strands, pull them through the stitch, and now you have a loop on your hook. Grab the yarn and pull it carefully through the loop and tighten up. So this is how you're going to make your fringes. So let's go and finish our fringes, and when I have finished making my fringes too, I'm going to turn my video back on again. So I finished putting on my fringes, and this is how our scarf looks like. It's a men's scarf for ages 15 to 17, total length of 1 meter and 60 centimeters, and total width of 14 centimeters. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and if you like the video, please like and leave a comment. Thanks again. Bye bye.